Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope you are grand on this beautiful sunny day. I hope that this you are able to get outside. It is still chilly. It was just still under 40 degrees when I came through the door, but this morning. But it is beautiful and sunny. At least there's some sunshine out there, and I hope you'll get to see a little bit of it. Hope you'll get to enjoy this early spring day and all that it brings you. Uh, Hope that there's some goodness in the day. Hey, Karen. Good morning to you. How are you? Hope it's beautiful down there in glorious Connecticut, the Nutmeg State. Beautiful spring day. Very nice. How's everybody this morning? Hump day. Hey, Jamie Battles. Got my lobster claw mug. Very nice. Always reminds me of the Pine Tree State. Good morning, everybody. You're doing great. Hello, hello. One more thing. I just closed the window that I needed, so. All right, it's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? There it is. All right, we're back in action. All right. Woo! Crisis averted, everyone. All right, that's what you get for a live stream. It's a live stream. Hey, good morning, Donna. Glad you're here. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're finding a great day today. Let's get going on this, the second day of April. It's springtime, friends. On this, the second day of April, here at 11:11. I'm on this Wednesday. I'm glad you're here and a part of the journey. I want to begin today with this. With we either I haven't heard or we have gotten out of the practice, but I think I actually haven't heard. So if I find out it's your birthday and we are on a live stream and I know that you're a part of the live stream regularly, I will wish you happy birthday. And so today, Gary Fernandez has his birthday. It is his birthday today, and so I will sing him happy birthday. So, and should your paths cross with Gary today, wish him happy birthday as well. So. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gary. Happy birthday to you. All right, that's as good as it gets here. All right, I hope you're like that's you can fast forward over through that part should you should be a part of not seeing this live, but if you are, I'm sorry, but it is Gary's birthday, and he's such a great leader of the church and offers so much. So, want to make sure that we offer him well wishes today. It's coming up on Palm Sunday. We have this Sunday, and then Sunday after next is Palm Sunday. And in Palm Sunday, we always try and have a visitor on whether or not we're going to have a donkey or not. So I wanted to actually talk a little donkey this morning. And so there is it. So in Exodus, so Exodus is the second book of the Bible. Exodus or Genesis, or third book of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus. Or holy moly, it's going to be that. It is that day. It's the second book of the Bible, Genesis and Exodus. Exodus being this the it is called Exodus because it is the journey of the people of Israel out of slavery and into the promised land. It chronicles that. But one of the biggest thing that happens there, oh, I mean, not the biggest, but one of the things that happens there is the reception of the law. You know, the whole, if you're a certain age, Charlton Heston kind of coming down off the mountain, let my people go, all that whole story. Well, that is what is chronicled in this part of Exodus. And so you get the Ten Commandments, and we generally heard of the Ten Commandments. But then after the Ten Commandments, there is this breaking out of like, okay, we got commandments, but what does it really mean? What does it mean not to bear false witness? What does it mean to not murder? What does it mean not to steal? And that the chapters after Exodus 20, when we get to the 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 commandments, there's all these kind of explanations of, okay, this is what that really means. There's these rules that come after it about don't do this, don't do that. You know, kind of the if the commandment is the thing in front of us, it's kind of the left and right limits. It's kind of the yellow line and the white line on the road of well, okay, don't do that and don't do that. So this is kind of where we want to point when we talk about one of the commandments in terms of the conduct of the people of Israel. So, um, so in Exodus 23, there is a couple of lines that, well, talks about donkeys, and it says this. It's working on the explanation of not bearing false witness. So it is, what does that mean? Like, okay, don't lie about somebody in court. Like, we kind of got that, but there wasn't really courts, and so there's all these kind of pieces. So it needed to be kind of fleshed out a little bit, and as well as all the commandments did, and all the Sabbath laws. And so this is what it. This is from the fourth verse of the 23rd chapter. It says, if you come across an enemy's donkey or enemy's ox or donkey wandering off, be sure to return it. If you see the donkey of someone who hates you has fallen down under its load, do not leave it there, but be sure to help them with it. This is a fun little thing, isn't it? Because are you kind of noticing what's happening here? Are you noticing what this says? It actually is saying that this radical statement that we get from Jesus in Matthew in the Sermon on the Mount, which we have tripped over ourselves so often, in terms of trying to understand what it means. The idea of what? Love your enemies. When Jesus says, love your enemies, we found that 1,000 years earlier in the Torah. We find that 800 years earlier in the Torah. We find this already in the Torah, that Jesus didn't just make that up out of whole cloth. What he's actually doing is coming to fulfill the rules that are already there that nobody's listening to. And this one being, so if you and this is because it's really about the treatment of donkeys, and how are we to care for our enemies in the middle of it. And it's saying, be loving to our enemies. Now, what does that mean? Because and that's kind of the title of this little, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me, right? Like that's where you wanted to say. I know it is. But this question of if I'm supposed to be loving, okay, do not follow the, if you come across an enemy's ox or donkey wandering, be sure to return it. If somebody that's an enemy, if they've lost their donkey, what's our instinct? Our instinct is Schadenfreude, right? Like the Schadenfreude, however you pronounce that, that great German word of taking pleasure in the misfortune of another person that we don't like. And I think Schadenfreude is one of our great peccadillos, our great cupidities of this day. We love to watch people that we disagree with or we are enemies with fall down and suffer. As a culture, we're into it. Like we bought that T-shirt that we want to see those people suffer and fall down because they're just not living right, or they've got the wrong policies, or they think the wrong things, or they're being mean to other people in the world. Whatever it is we tell ourselves. But what the Torah is suggesting, what Moses is suggesting, what God is suggesting, long before Jesus comes and hammers it home and fulfills it, is saying that we need to be loving. Okay, what does that mean? And which is what I want to talk about today. Being loving is how we conduct ourselves. We have been so God bless Walt Disney. I'm sure, his mom loves him. He probably went to heaven. Like probably, like he's probably great. But one of the things that the Disneyfication of the world gave us was this idea, and which came out, I think, the Romantic movement, is that what love is, baby, don't hurt me. What love is this boom, 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 warm, chocolatey feeling inside of our hearts. And that's love. It's the prince in Snow White. Uh, um, the two dogs and a piece of spaghetti. I lost the name. Sorry. It's those images that we have that's really love. And it's not just romantic love, but love is this compassionate feeling which dwells deep from within our heart, where we become agent of compassionate joy in the world as we tend the hurts of the world. All this kind of story we tell. No, no, that's actually not what love is. That is a part of what love is. That is a part of what it can be. But what love actually is stuff we do. Because if we just have a warm chocolatey feeling in our heart and never act on it, it never comes into being. It's just a warm chocolatey feeling. Like I can have 3 shots of Jägermeister and get a warm feeling inside. Like it's not about the fact that we have this warm feeling, or we have this grand intention, or this grand desire to be compassionate, or all this blissful love for our neighbor. Like, oh man, it's so awesome. Like it's not that. Those can be precursors to love, but what love is what we do with our little hands, and what we flap with our little mouths, and what we execute in the world. That is love. And if we are going to be loving in the world, it is not about our feeling state for the person that is receiving it, or whether we deserve them right or not. Now, notice what this says, and notice, I think, what also Jesus says, that it doesn't mean don't have enemies. People can actually work for your destruction. I was on a fob with, one month we had 100 rocket attacks. It was like there were people out there actively working for my destruction. That would, that I understand that's a real, and that there are people that can betray us in this world that are actively working for our destruction. There are people that can hurt us and use us in this world that are actively working for our destruction. And our conduct towards them is to be loving. That's the invitation. And it's not, this is the thing that we think, it's not because of the fact that, if we don't, God will hate us, or if we don't, we're going to be cast into outer darkness. It is that if we dwell in the Schadenfreude, that if we dwell and we nurture that precious feeling of watching somebody who's hurt us be hurt themselves, and we take pleasure in that, what does that do to our real relationship with the good and the true and the beautiful? What does that do with our relationship to ourselves? What does that do to the relationship with other people out there? And what does it do to our relationship with God? If you see the donkey of someone you hate fallen down under its load, don't leave it there, and be sure to help them with it. Why? Because the donkey didn't do anything. That when we let the brokenness of the world, even though we might, we might take great schadenfreude in the destruction of people around us, when we let that go on, the innocent get hurt. You know, we're a we look at the bellicosity of the world, the idea of the world at war and going to war and people taking up arms. You know who gets hurt in that? The innocent. It's not, the one great brutality I think that the movie industry does around war movies, and there's ones that are closer and further away, but the greatest brutality is that it is the corruption and the brokenness and the death and the hurt around people who have nothing to do with the conflict, just happen to be there at the time, who are not great warriors on the battlefield locking arms in some sort of honorable way. No, it's a house being blown up that has a family in it. It's searching for weapons in a compound and kicking in somebody's door and terrifying a family at 2 in the morning. That's more of what real warfare looks like. And so those ideas, this why are we called to this? Why are we invited to this? Why do we have to ask that question of what is love, and why does the next thing, chapter after chapter after chapter, trying to lay out what the importance of what do these rules that I give you from these 10 commandments, what do they really mean? How do they really break out? Because we have this tendency to want to take that schadenfreude, that pleasure in those who've hurt us, or those who are we perceive to be hurting the world, to see them destroyed and see them blown, and to see them damaged in some way, and that we can take pleasure in that, and the way that really hurts and breaks us. You see, this is the thing about the rules. This is the thing about the commandments. This is the thing about what God gives us in terms of the guidance of the world. They are not about the healing of the world, even though the healing of the world will result from them. They are about the safeguarding and healing of us. That if we start poisoning our hearts with this unwillingness to simply care for the people who have suffered misfortune, even though we may not agree with them, even though they may actively be working against things that we hold dear and we think are important. If we can't find our way to step into those places, what we end up with are hard hearts, and we end up with with uh, with injustice, not only to the world but to ourselves. That we can't even hold our own goodness and our own beauty, because it all ends up getting poisoned by this kind of feeling state, this pursuit of the feeling state, if you will. You see, because being loving at the end of the day is not about our feeling state. Though hopefully, our feeling state will come along. And if we continue to follow Jesus, it will. I mean, that's the promise, is that it will. If we continue to follow Jesus, it will. Our heart will follow. Our heart will be, that God can and will change our heart. But that we have to make a space. We have to act that out, and we have to be in the business of acting that out in faith and in grace. That as the great letter from the Apostle John, we love because we are first loved. Now hear that. We love because we act in the world in such a way that we physically try to care for and act in such a way that brings goodness to the world, because God first acted that way to us. This is again, it's not about whether or not we can hold a warm chocolatey feeling in our hearts for a person that has hurt us, or a person or a world that we perceive, or someone who has truly set themselves as an enemy against us. What we can do is act in such a way that we make space for the angels to go to work. We make space for the Holy Spirit to dwell in our midst. And a lot of times what that means is just, when somebody's donkey's wandered off, is caring for them, rather than, and help them bringing it back, help them bring back their own from their own misfortune. And maybe that just means praying for them. Maybe that means, but it means doing something, because if we don't do something, it's not love. It's just a warm chocolatey feeling, or maybe at its worst, it's a Schadenfreude of taking pleasure in the person that in the malicious loss of somebody's somebody's goodness in their life. Friends, if you see the donkey of someone you hate falling down under its load, don't leave it there. Be sure to help them with it. Because really, the world needs more donkey helpers. We need to be donkey helpers. And not because the world needs it, although it does, but we need to, because we need it. We need to be donkey helpers in this world. We need to be helpers of the innocent that bear the load. We need to be the one to police the world in such a way that we aren't in the business of collateral damage all the time. Because I see it again and again and again, that the collateral damage of all of the division in our world is the fact that we can barely be together anymore, friends. And we're called to be together. We're called to burn brightly together. We're called to burn as a great fire, as embers gathered together, not as little matches and little candles out on our own, able to be snuffed out at any moment. So friends, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. It is us and our actions in the world. And I hope you will maybe in your life police up a little donkey that's wandered off in somebody's life, that you'll care for someone that hates you, and in a way that doesn't give yourself away. I'm not saying be in a way that is gonna permit you to be hurt again. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if something's fallen down, the world needs to be repaired, and not just left there to rot and to continue to break the world and all of us in it. Because honestly, there's been enough of that, hasn't there? All right, peace and grace to you, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.